Understanding my blood pressure, BP, pulse pressure, PP, and brain oxygen supply, MAP, recorded on October 31, 2025, number 1415, November 1, 2025. Gerald C. EclaireMD Foundation. Category, Hypertension. Preface. Although this record shows only 1 day of data, I actually measure my blood pressure every day, usually from 14 to 20 times per day, half on my upper arm and half on my wrist. The difference between the two is typically about 1 mmHg, or less than 1%, which is remarkably consistent. Some doctors and nurses told me that the upper arm reading is more accurate, but none of their explanations sound scientifically convincing to me. From my perspective, both measurement sites are valid as long as the devices are well calibrated, based on the same algorithm, and use them correctly. I chose both of my blood pressure monitors from OMRON, because I trust their quality and the consistency of their underlying algorithms. At least this way, I am comparing apple to apple, not apple to orange. My reason for measuring so frequently is simple. I want to catch any episode of acute hypertension the moment it occurs. When I detect such an event, I immediately search for the cause: food, exercise, emotion, stress, or sleep. Once I identify the trigger, I can take action to prevent it from happening again. So far, among roughly 10,000 measurements, about 0.2%, around 20 readings, have shown temporary spikes in the from 130 to 149 mmHg range. Most of these cases had no clear or identifiable cause, while only about 5 incidents were clearly linked to emotional stress. This habit of self-monitoring and instant analysis not only helps me understand my body more deeply, but also serves as an important safeguard against another stroke risk or cardiovascular event. From a physiological viewpoint, these rare, unexplained spikes may result from transient sympathetic nervous system surges, or short-term vascular reflexes. Even mild emotional tension, a sudden change in body position, for example, bowel movement, or unexpected thoughts, for example, past unpleasant memory, can momentarily activate the sympathetic system, releasing adrenaline and tightening the blood vessels. Such responses are brief and harmless in healthy arteries, but could become dangerous in a damaged or stiff vascular system. This is why early detection, calm breathing, and self-awareness are vital parts of long-term stroke prevention. This shows an excellent example of how real-time self-monitoring can uncover dynamic patterns that conventional clinic visits completely miss. 1. My readings. On October 31, 2025, my daily average readings were: BP is 120/68 mmHg, PP is 52 mmHg, MAP is 85 mmHg, HR is 58 bpm. At first glance, these numbers may look ordinary, but they actually reveal how stable and healthy my blood vessels are. Something especially important to me after my stroke recovery. This day's data closely reflect my typical post-stroke blood pressure pattern, particularly from about 1 month after the stroke onward. 2. What these numbers mean. Blood pressure, BP, has 2 numbers: systolic, SBP, pressure when the heart contracts; diastolic, DBP, pressure when the heart relaxes. So my 120/68 mmHg reading means my arteries experience 120 mmHg at heartbeat peak and drop to 68 mmHg between beats. 3. Pulse pressure, PP, arterial elasticity. The PP formula is: PP is SBP minus DBP. My PP is 120 minus 68 is 52 mmHg. A normal PP range is from 40 to 60 mmHg. Higher than 65 often indicates arterial stiffness, common in aging or diabetes. My PP is 52 mmHg means my arteries are still flexible and elastic, able to expand and recoil effectively. This is a good sign of vascular health, protecting the brain and vital organs from pressure shocks. 4. Mean arterial pressure, MAP, oxygen and nutrient supply. The MAP equation is MAP equals SBP plus 2 times DBP, all divided by 3. So for my case, MAP equals 120 plus 2 times 68, all divided by 3, equals 85 mmHg. A healthy MAP should stay between 80 and 100 mmHg. If it's below 70, organs might not receive enough oxygen. If it's above 100, blood vessels face unnecessary stress. My MAP is 85 mmHg means that my brain and organs are well perfused with blood, rich in oxygen and nutrients, providing strong support for recovery without placing excessive pressure on the vessels. 5. Heart rate, HR, my energy rhythm. My past heart rate averaged from 65 to 70 beats per minute, which is ideal. In my viscoplastic medicine theory, VMT, model, the heart functions as an energy engine. Each pump of the car engine sends gasoline, mechanical energy, through the pipes to power the entire car. Similarly, each heartbeat delivers biological energy, oxygen and essential nutrients, through the arteries to sustain the entire body. Sometimes I wonder, did mechanical engineers imitate doctors? Or did doctors imitate mechanical engineers? If the heart rate is too high, the system produces too much stress energy. If it's too low, oxygen delivery slows down. For me, from 65 to 70 BPM is the perfect rhythm, an equilibrium point between energy efficiency and organ supply. However, a resting heart rate of 52 BPM is not abnormal for me, considering that I still walk about 7,000 to 10,000 steps every day after my stroke, and have maintained strong cardiovascular conditioning for the past 20 years. It simply means that my heart has become more efficient than average, pumping enough blood with fewer beats. 6. Putting it all together, here's a simple diagram that summarizes how these variables interact. 7. My interpretation. From both clinical and VMT viewpoints, PP is 52 mm of mercury, good arterial elasticity. MAP is 85 mm of mercury, stable and sufficient blood supply to the brain. HR is 58 BPM, efficient heart rhythm with minimal stress load. Even from the data of this randomly selected day, it is clear that my vascular system is now mechanically balanced, with enough elasticity to absorb stress waves, sufficient pressure to deliver oxygen and essential nutrients to my organs, especially my brain, and a steady rhythm that conserves energy. In VMT terms, this represents a low viscoplastic energy state, where biological stress is minimized and system stability is maximized. In TDA terms, it corresponds to a smaller and tighter geometric shape with shorter data connectivity. A configuration that likewise reflects minimized biomedical stress and maximized systemic stability. 8. My reflection. Before my stroke, my pulse pressure was often higher and reached 50 mm of mercury or above, meaning my vessels were stiffer, and my heart rate fluctuated widely. Now, through better glucose control, good diet, daily walking, though reduced by 3K to 4K steps from 10K 12K down to 7K 8K per day, longer sleep hours, about 2 hours longer each night, and emotional calmness, trying hard to avoid emotional stress, both my PP and MAP have normalized. To me, these numbers are not just medical surface reading numbers, they are proof that my cardiovascular system and brain vessels have regained equilibrium. My arteries are now flexible and recover smoothly, and my brain receives consistent oxygen and nutrients for sustained cognition and memory loss recovery. In short, my daily data collection using my custom-designed medical AI system, Chronic, on my iPhone is not just a toy or a medical habit, it is my lifeline for prevention and real-time feedback. Through it, I can visualize the invisible. How energy, stress, and stability interact inside my body. Summary: even though these readings come from only one day, October 31, 2025, they reflect my years of discipline and system observation. My BP is 12,068, PP is 52, MAP is 85, and HR is 58 BPM together confirm that my vascular and neurological systems are in balance. Elastic enough for safety, strong enough for supply, and efficient enough for long life. This is how I understand my body now. Not as surface numbers only, but as a living system shaped by mathematics, physics, energy, geometry, pathology, and physiology, and guided by both persistence and resilience. Persistence keeps me moving forward every day, while resilience helps me rise again after being knocked down. Both are essential, one drives effort, the other restores strength. Disclaimer: I write this paper not for fame, but to share what I have learned so others can understand their health, prevent disease, and live longer, healthier lives. This content is for educational reference only, and does not constitute medical advice. No doctor-patient relationship is created. You may share this summary freely, but it must not be altered, edited, or republished as your own. All intellectual property rights and copyrights belong to the author. Gerald C.